Hey, this is Jimmy Trammell from the Tulsa World Scene Department. This is the Men Who Would Be Seen video that we do weekly. I'm here with, you want to say your own name?
This is Jim Watts.
Jim, I'm very proud to be in a video with Jim Watts, by the way, who's
you need to get out more, my friend.
but we just mentioned to you what we're working on, what you might see in the Tulsa World and tulsaworld.com each week. Let's start with you. Obviously, it's a big year for Greenwood. There's a music event related to Greenwood this week, right?
Yeah, this weekend is Tulsa Opera presenting a concert called Greenwood Overcomes. It's also, I believe, the first public in-concert performance at the Tulsa PAC. So things are beginning to open up there. But it is a 8 opera singers and 23 living composers, all of whom are African-American, will be performing a series of songs and arias and other vocal pieces. 8 of which are having their world premiere and 4 of which were commissioned by Tulsa Opera. One of the pieces that's going to be performed is by Anthony Davis. It's a Pulitzer Prize winning composer that is part of a opera about the Tulsa Race Massacre that is in the works. And so that's going to be an interesting thing to hear. So it's going to be a pretty star-studded event. There are 2 shows. One is Saturday night. The other is Sunday afternoon. But the opera, because they want as many people to see this as possible, are going to be live streaming it on their website, and that will be available, I believe, through the end of May. So if you are, for some reason, I know that tickets are selling fairly well because they added the second performance. But if you're unable to get a ticket or are still a little leery about getting close to people in public, there is that option of watching it online. So that's a big deal in a whole lot of ways. So
sure,
I'm very Tulsa Opera has always been very much on the forefront of diversity in casting and in championing voices not often heard. So this is going to be a big event for Tulsa. I think it's going to put a lot of national attention on the city and on Tulsa Opera itself.
This story will appear. It's already appeared, right?
It appeared Thursday, which is the day that we're talking about this. But you can read it at tulsaworld.com. Speaking of big things, you have got something Friday that is well, it's definitely important to you. I know that.
Well, speaking of music, what is this?
Oh dear.
Oh yeah, there we go. It's that was 110 Soldier. Of course, this would be the Billy Jack theme song. I mean, not that I'm a big fan of Billy Jack or anything, by what I'm wearing today, but the 50th anniversary of the film Billy Jack arrives Saturday, and Circle Cinema is kind enough to host a 50th anniversary screening, 2 p.m. Saturday, May the 1st. And it's kind of weird, but Billy Jack was not the first Billy Jack movie. There was a movie in 1968 called Born Losers, where the character Billy Jack fights a motorcycle gang. Of course, no spoiler alert, he wins. He beats the motorcycle gang.
Oh my goodness, really? Okay.
Yeah, and Tom Laughlin made enough money from this basically biker movie to make the film he really wanted to make. He wanted to make it for 17 years before it finally got to movie theaters, which was Billy Jack, which became one of the all-time indie underdog blockbusters. It went from, filmed on basically nothing, and it's made, I think, $98 million to date. And I think maybe resonated with people in Oklahoma more so than even other states because of we're blessed with so much Native American culture here. I love the character Billy Jack. I love the kind of character who, doesn't really want to be a hero. He just kind of wants to go about his business and be left alone. But somehow he winds up having to do something heroic anyway, whether he wants to or not. That's, whether that's Billy Jack or Jonah Hex or James Rockford on the Rockford Files or Carl Kolchak. They just want to do their jobs or be left alone. But ultimately, they do something heroic, even though they don't really want to be heroic. So that's my kind of person. I love Billy Jack. I won't even apologize. I'm all in on Billy Jack.
Okay. One thing I remember, I don't know if you do, one of the few times I watched Saturday Night Live, where are you familiar with what I'm talking about, with Paul Simon playing
November 20th, 1976.
Of course you would know that.
Well, I cheated. I referred to this in the story, so I watched it again yesterday.
Okay, all right. I remember walking out triumphantly with the Neapolitan ice cream cone, because that meant black, white, and red people living in harmony until they melt and run down your arm. But anyway,
and you're referring to the Billy Paul sketch where was Billy Jack, and he had the face palm and the slow burn, down that Tom Laughlin used so much. But there were 4 Billy Jack movies, by the way. There was a 5th one that they kind of stopped making halfway through because Tom got injured. He's passed away now, but the 4th one, Billy Jack Goes to Washington, was basically almost direct to video. And the 3rd one, The Trial of Billy Jack, which, as much as I love Billy Jack, that's a tough watch. It's about 3 hours long, and maybe could have been, squeezed down to something more reasonable. But it's festival time, right?
It is festival time. And our colleague Kelly Hines is putting together a roundup for Sunday of all things festive. Although she's not going to focus on Mayfest, we're saving that for this coming Wednesday. It's going to be back in the eastern half of the Tulsa Arts District. And there's a lot of interesting things going on. One thing that we'll be featuring is a local artist, Rachel Rose Daisy, who has created a collection of gold jewelry with black diamonds that she's going to sell, with the proceeds benefiting another local arts group called the Black Moon Collective. And she's done this before, earlier during the first months of the pandemic. She created a line of jewelry that she sold to benefit other artists that were losing out on sales because there was no, festivals at which they could sell their work. And she's developed a fairly impressive national online presence. And so she was able to, sell and wanted to give back. So that's very much a characteristic of her work. So there are only 5 pieces in this collection. So, but I have seen them. They're quite attractive. And that's something to seek out in midst of the madness of Mayfest. And speaking of Native American, I can't remember their name offhand, but the company that sells Indian tacos at Mayfest is returning for like the 38th straight year. So you can be assured of getting your Indian tacos at Mayfest this year.
Well, and you mentioned Kelly Hines' name. We should mention that Kelly Hines is in our sports department. Well, we've kind of borrowed her for a few projects this year, and she does a great job rescuing cats in her spare time. So Kelly, by far the most feminine of our group and scene. And Kelly of the writers.
Well, and speaking of cats, today it was announced that Sage, which is the newest of the Philbrook Museum cats, has disappeared. And they found the GPS tracker that was attached to her collar on the museum grounds. So they are looking for any information that people might have, or if they have seen the cat. She is about a 6-pound gray and tan tabby. She's apparently, according to the missing person, she is super friendly and likes belly rubs. And if you have any information, to call 918-748-5300, and that is just for information. Don't call that number to ask questions or chat idly.
I think we all love food, and I love when you write about food. What do we have food related coming up?
Well, it's a place that food doesn't enter into the name at all, but they do have it. It's called Gambill's Wine and Coffee. It's at the corner of 11th and Lewis. They specialize in Spanish tapas, which are small plates of a variety of things, and it's very enjoyable. You can try a lot of different things that you may not have thought to try, like cheese, grilled cheese, where it's just cheese that's been grilled. You will discover that a tortilla in Spain is very different from a tortilla in Mexico, and they make some great coffee. So, and there's wine galore. So that's something to look forward to this Wednesday as well.
Okay. And I think on the subject of food, we'll tease something for next week. If you've ever heard of Aunt Meg's breakfast, that could be a topic by the time we get to next week. Aunt Meg's breakfast.
I will keep an eye out for that.
Okay, and we'll leave it at that unless you have anything else to offer this week.
I think that'll get us through.
Okay, get us out of here.
All right, for Jimmy Trammell, myself, and the unseen but appreciated Kelly Hines, this is Jim Watts from the Tulsa Scene. We'll talk to you next week.